The Harvest Moon games are known for their open-endedness, that is, they're games with no ending. Some of the games do have specific goals in mind, but after those are completed, you're free to keep playing the game and running your farm for as long as you want. There are, however, exceptions. In particular, we're going to be looking at Harvest Moon Save the Homeland for the PlayStation 2. I was interested in this game as a kid because I thought it was cool that there was actually a Harvest Moon game for the PS2, as I had only played More Friends of Mineral Town for the Game Boy Advance at the time. I also didn't have a GameCube, so I didn't get a chance to play any of the Wonderful Life games either. Save the Homeland was initially released in 2001, and in Japan it's known as Ignite the Fire in the Heart, which in my opinion is a way more awesome name, though I guess Save the Homeland does make more sense. It starts off with the player character moving to a farm that was inherited from his late grandfather. It doesn't look like anyone's here to meet us, which is weird, since there's usually someone that immediately meets with you to show you around the farm in these games. But wait, who's this? Maybe they're here to— God, those eyes! Maybe Grandpa's dead because this fucker ate his soul. Anyways, the Harvest Goddess appears, judges you, and asks you to help save this little town from being demolished so that a theme park can be built. And of course you agree because isn't that how it always goes? But I'll talk more about that later. There's a lot of things that are the same as your typical Harvest Moon games, such as growing crops, raising livestock, running around town and tracking down certain villagers so that you can give them their daily gift, a bathroom. I really want to open the door, but I know I shouldn't. Looks like someone's thinking about doing something naughty. However, there are also a lot of things that are different from other Harvest Moon games. For one, you don't get a dog right off the bat. You have to catch one of 2 stray dogs that are roaming around town. What's neat about the dog, though, is that if you choose the Shiba Inu looking dog, it will appear in the opening screen when you start up the game instead of the floppy-eared one. The dog will also appear on your save slot in your diary. There's no shipping bin to sell your goods, so you have to go to the shops to sell them. You can also apply to a part-time job at the local ranch, which gets you a small amount of money, and it's also how you can get a horse. And the best part is, you can work or not work whenever you want to. If only real-life jobs were that easy. Though you can't work on rainy days, so that kinda sucks. Speaking of animal care, let me tell you something different about feeding animals in this game that's really weird. I had bought a chicken and put feed in the food bin like you're supposed to, but the next day she wakes up sick. Why? Because I didn't put the feed in the bin that had her name on it. What the hell is up with that? I have no idea why chickens are so picky about where their food is in this universe, to the point where they're willing to starve themselves if their food isn't in the right place. Stupid chickens. And of course, I can't talk about Save the Homeland without talking about the endings. There are 9 different endings to the game and you have 1 year to get one. How'd you get one of these endings? By talking to people and becoming friends with them. The Harvest Sprites and Goddess even outright tell you to talk to people around town. Actually, as far as I know, I don't think there's any hints in the game as to how you can get any particular ending, so it seems like the game expects you to make as many friends as possible and wait until you get a cutscene where something cool happens. Then you know you're on the right track. Granted, you probably could just look it up in a guide, but I'm pretty sure the intention was to make friends with as many people as possible in town so that you can find out on your own. Also, have you ever noticed that you never meet whoever is in charge of this town, as in the mayor, a person that's in pretty much every Harvest Moon game? I've talked to everyone in town, but none of them have identified themselves as the mayor. I guess that makes the Harvest Goddess the supreme leader? Maybe Grandpa did something to piss her off, and that's why she had this guy eat his soul, and that's why he's dead now. And if you don't save the town, you're next. Now, I actually do like the increased focus on socialization in this game. In a lot of the other games, there's not really much incentive to make friends with any of the villagers except for your chosen bachelor or bachelorette, unless you want to see some different cutscenes. While that is a significant part of the game's appeal, you also don't really need to talk with them more than what's necessary or give them gifts. Now you have to make friends with quite a number of people in town for a lot of the endings, so it's nice to see that talking to lots of people is actually an important part of the game, and it actually feels like you're developing a friendship with these people instead of just buying their love with gifts. It doesn't really take too long to make friends, but it's still a nice thing to have in the game. In fact, something like this might actually make the game qualify for one of my favorite Harvest Moon games. If it weren't for the fact that the game actually ends once you get one of these endings. And like I said, you only have 1 year to get one of these endings, which makes the whole experience very short, especially for a Harvest Moon game. So that means no getting married and having kids, which is a big part of pretty much all of the Harvest Moon games, not to mention being unable to build your farming empire over the course of several years. So when you do get one of these endings, the game just, well, ends. That sucks. Not all hope is lost for the game's potential, however. A lot of the characters were repurposed for Magical Melody for the GameCube, and the game received a remake for the PSP called Hero of Leaf Valley, which allowed you to play past the ending and brought back the ability to get married, as well as adding new characters. I haven't had the opportunity to play this one yet, but it's one that I'd definitely be willing to give a try. I will say though that Harvest Moon Save the Homeland is still a pretty fun game despite its unfortunately short length. The increased focus on socialization is a nice and unique touch, and the game has a catchy soundtrack and charming graphics that have aged quite well. However, if you're looking for the full Harvest Moon experience, you're better off looking at one of the many other entries in the series.